Hey everyone, welcome to the Cosmic Blueprint. My name is Tim Paulden and I am the astrologer on this journey. Some of you guys probably have seen me in Nightlight Astrology's monthly review channel. So welcome to my channel. Finally am starting to get this thing going. Super excited to be here with you guys and share. Thank you all for such loving and amazing comments. I really appreciate it. I'm not quite the type that's usually want to go out and make videos, but I have a wealth of knowledge and I'm really excited about being able to share that with you guys and bring your cosmic blueprints to life. Give you guys good insight. And this is less about me just providing a bunch of information, and I want this channel to be more about us exploring together, right? I think the channel had originally kind of started heavily focusing on 8th house, 2nd house topics, Saturn and Jupiter, just because they're such prominent aspects in my life. But after doing some really amazing reading consultations and just working with people and being able to really weave the thread and create or extrapolate these kind of archetypes or help to bring this clarity, I found it's so much more fun for me and so much more rewarding, I should say, for us to engage in me to provide service as to what do you need, what do you want, what aspects are going on for you guys that are super important right now. Who's the chart ruler and what are they going through, what are you going through. So I think I'm going to leave the channel a little bit open into what do you guys want to hear about. So and so we're going to kind of transition from that based on the reading that I had from one of the people who saw me on Nightlight. She made a suggestion that I just talk about my Venus and Uranus place, because I said, what first video am I going to do? I kind of don't want to be just the hey, here's the typical Venus conjoined Jupiter and Cancer transit. Because I'm kind of not like that. There are so many other players going on in the sky, and I'm this is not going to feel everyone, a lot of astrologers are this is the best transit of the year. And I'm oh, that really sucks, because, we still got Saturn and Neptune in Aries and that energy, so long digression. I don't want to just be another these are the transits, these are what they mean. I want to help to uncover some of the maybe hidden archetypes, the less well-known things, and how they actually show up in your life. I'm fascinated about you guys and your lives. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about my Venus and Uranus. I think it's really interesting. That was a suggestion. But also I'm going to do a little flip here mid-video. I'm going to talk about the Saturn and Jupiter 2nd, 8th house dynamic about me, because it's really important to my core being and who I am. So off the bat, name Tim Paulden. What do? I am a maker of many things. I have an ascendant in Mercury. Mercury is my ascendant, excuse me. He's in my 8th house of Capricorn. So in Capricorn, the feminine, earthy domicile of Saturn has my ascendant Mercury, who is the quick-footed god of talk. He likes to talk, mercantilism, fast, quick-paced movement, smile, let's get it going. That smooth, suave guy is in the cold, feminine, earthy domicile of Saturn. So can you imagine? Also think about, right, when I think about Capricorn, the typical things, ambitious and blah, blah, blah. I really think about literally the goat climbing a mountain, but goats climb sideways. Nothing is ever direct. A Capricorn can be ambitious, but it's not just oh, there, I'm gonna go get it. It's no, they have to work. They make things, it's making the impossible possible. I like to say that Mercury in Capricorn is the dark magician. It's the person that they say oh, I'm going to do X, or they get an idea, or they communicate something to you, and then all of a sudden you turn around and it's magically they have something, or they've achieved it, and you're how did you do that? And it's really you didn't really see them, but they were quietly in the dark in that 8th house, working, building, structuring. Well, I should say in Capricorn, working, building, structuring. And it happens to be in my 8th house, which is a dark house, which rules. I like to say that it doesn't rule. I'd like to say that the 8th house encompasses shared private resources, a little bit more. I mean, that does encompass sex because like a bedroom is a shared private resource. Um, but it covers things that like also like recovery homes, right? Like these really private, intimate spaces, but that are very vulnerable, right? And if you think you associate eighth house Scorpio, right? Like those deeply wounded, vulnerable kind of places, sometimes manipulation, you know, it's easy, these people could maybe be easily that way. um, so going back, I have that Capricorn is in my eighth house, so this ambitiousness with my ascendant, the person that I am, what I do, who, this mercurialness, he's there climbing to the top in the eighth house of shared resources and using facts, technology, ways to achieve such means. Now, based on that, also my Saturn is in that eighth house too. So he's in domicile. And so Saturn is governing over all of this. My Sun happens to be in that eighth house as well, conjoined Uranus and Neptune. So my ego and identity, combined with what I'm actually doing on a day to day basis, is all aligned with these shared, private, intimate resources and the building, growing of them through Saturnian structures, foundations, long term building. Also, because the eighth house is kind of like a leaky house, it involves other people's resources, other people's finances, probably have quite a few entanglements with what other people do and how their money is used or how you use their money and or leverage their money. I'm telling you guys all of this, and then I'll tell you what I do, and you can see if that makes sense, if my cosmic blueprint is aligned, right? So I've got all of that going on in the eighth house. And then in the second house, across the wheel, I've got Cancer. And guess who I've got in Cancer, guys? I've got Jupiter, my man. I've got Big Jupe in Cancer. Big Jupe is exalted in Cancer, right? Cancer is the feminine, watery domicile of the moon. It is a reflective kind of house. It is, is a reflective kind of sign. It has these nurturing, very homey, mothering qualities to them. It's very not just relaxing, but just nurturing is probably the best word. And so now you've got the planet of Jupiter of optimism, expansion. So when you think about his exaltation, I think about exaltations and like the subjects of the kingdom of the domicile. So the subject of the moon's domicile of nurturing and caring for and growing, right? Jupiter comes in of expansion, knowledge, truth, all of that with the subjects of the moon who support nurturing and taking care of things would love to do that based on higher religious orders or thoughts and aligning with those principles and properties to expand and nurture more and grow more to bring forth more life. So that would be the exaltation, but it's done in an emotional way. It kind of checks Jupiter. Like the people have to make sure that it's done in an emotional way. So that's in my second house, because opposite the eighth is my second house. So that's resources, finances, how I see myself, my personal values, right? Those are opposing. So that's an aspect of Saturn. So what it says is there's tension between your emotional comforts, how you view and value yourself, how you make money, right? All of those things. You've got Jupiter who wants to expand in those ways and love what you do and those kind of things. And then directly across opposing, witnessing that expansion is applying pressure, shooting a ray, is Saturn, well, all of those planets, Saturn, Sun, Uranus, Neptune, and Mercury shooting a ray to Jupiter. So although Jupiter and his subjects are there, they're doing their best. You've got Saturn in his domicile. Well, you've technically got Jupiter and the moon subjects, excuse me. And you've got Saturn with his subjects. You've got Mercury there. You've got under the guise of the sun. You've got Uranus, Neptune. All of that is shooting at him. And so you can imagine that there may be a battle between personal self-worth, personal ability to make finances, or personal leverage in finances versus shared resources, other people's finances, how the partner's money plays into your money, long-term building, structuring partners' finances, or finances that have to do with, well, partners could be intimate partners, but also could technically kind of be business partners, but in an intimate way, so to speak. Um, so you can imagine how that could be family. It's also karmic, the eighth house. So now, with that kind of understanding, you can see that you could see someone possibly having a lot or being able to generate money because they've got Jupiter and Cancer in the second house, but also having that eighth house of Saturn putting checks and balances and blocks and stops and restrictions on their ability to have value for themselves and or that money, or maybe it's being fed by that. So now I'll tell you what I do. Name's Tim. I'm a real estate agent, Jupiter and Cancer in second house, housing, real estate agent and investor. What else do I do? I am in tech now, which is very interesting, but it's actually food. I'm a food innovation scientist. I've been in the food industry for 13 years, developing food products for some pretty big companies. I don't want to name any names, but one of them was Starbucks. But I developed products that you actually see on the shelves. I've been in Whole Foods, Target, I can't even name them all, Jewels, all around the country. I've done stuff. So nourishing, second house, food, innovation is really that Mercury in that Capricorn really that actually has to do with my Aquarius too, the Venus. But I do that. Also now I've gotten into the tech industry, but it's food tech, and developing systems, Saturn and Capricorn, developing these systems in the food tech area that can help companies, small companies, leverage their resources a lot better financially. All of this having to do with eighth houses, resources, leveraging debts, taxes, second house doing the food innovation and expanding their resources or how they're able to do that. You can kind of see how these things are tying up. Also, eighth house, we know is quite a kind of, I have Neptune there, love astrology. I have an uncanny knack to try to get to the truth and the bottom of things, very Mercury in Capricorn, through studying, reading, through just taking in copious amounts of information and trying to structure it in a cohesive way. Astrology works for me because it felt the most structured way to logically learn. Capricorn, the Mercury and Capricorn at it again, as usual. So you can start to see how my cosmic blueprint is this. And also I tell people, before I'd even gotten astrology, I tell people I'm Santa Claus and Scrooge. People are like, how can you be both? I'm like, it's super simple. If you're someone who is authentic and care about what you really, really want to do and what you love, I want to help you when no one else is helping you. I want to help you because you're trying to help yourself. And I feel like that's Santa Claus. If you're good, I'm going to make it better. On the flip side, if you're a person of entitlement, if you're someone, this is like the Saturnian eighth house of shared resources, I'm going to block it. I'm not helping you if you're not willing to help yourself. If you don't have the values, if you're not willing to grow yourself and your horizons on your own, I'm not willing to invest in that. And I'm willing to block you and block those things. Or I'm willing to draw, in Saturn's case, draw a dry, Saturn, Neptune, draw a dry, cold reality on you about those things so that you can understand that the world owes you nothing. So it's that second eighth house dynamic. It's Jekyll and it's Santa Claus at the same time. And then you've got Mercury in the middle who's just like, I'm relaying the message. But being under the domicile of Saturn, Mercury's not going to let anything technical escape him. So no matter how Jupiterian on the inside he feels, because it's second house, Jupiter in Cancer and emotional, Saturnian is what's going to be expressed. So anyway, I hope you guys liked the first episode of Cosmic Blueprint. Please hit the subscribe button. Guys, please, 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 in the comments, I would love for you to tell me, what do you guys want to hear about next? Send me some birth times. Maybe we'll go through a birth chart. Let's talk about some stuff. Give me ideas for videos. I would love it. I love breaking this stuff down. I'll talk to you guys forever, and it is such a pleasure. So until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye.